Video games. A type of media I'm sure a lot of us can say we enjoy. Whether the game is an MMO, online all the time, only single player, or anything like that. I think video games truly hold a special place in my heart. But I think it's most sad when a video game we are looking forward to gets cancelled, or a game we know has already come out becomes lost due to the fact that there's not enough copies. It is truly a sad time. So I thought to myself, what better way to honor them than by taking a look at what I consider the top 10 lost video games. Number 10. Big Bible Town. Big Bible Town was a multiplayer online game by Third Day Games, launched on November 15, 2010. This online game was based on Third Day's PC game series, Bible Champions and Gospel Champions. The overall style of the game was similar to Club Penguin and was meant to teach biblical values and lessons, while set in the 1st century. The players would make an account and build their own church-centric town by collecting tokens. The game also had Bible adventures the player could go through, in which you could win tokens and buy costumes, buildings, pets, etc. According to their Twitter, Big Bible Town had plans to release their game on iOS, but it is currently unknown if this fell through. As for any availability, it is unknown what happened to this game, let alone when the game shut down, as the official website is not accessible anymore. Multiple videos as well as gameplay footage can be found on the official Big Bible Town YouTube channel though. Number 9. Bubsy 3D. Bubsy 3D was a PlayStation game developed by Eidetic and published by Accolade. It was released in November 1996 and is considered by many to be one of the worst games ever made due to its primitive 3-dimensional graphics, bad voice acting, and its poor controls and camera. It was also the last game in the Bubsy franchise for over 2 decades until Bubsy: The Woolly Strikes Back was announced and released in 2017. A Sega Saturn version, known as Bubsy 3 in development, was also planned and would have apparently been based on the original Sega 32X development models. It was stated to come out winter 1996, as noted on GamePro magazine, but was then stated to be delayed on spring 1997 on Accolade's official website, and eventually cancelled outright due to the failure of the PlayStation version. Currently, no prototypes of the Saturn port have resurfaced, and very little info on the port exists. Number 8. Donkey Kong Coconut Crackers. In the early 2000s, Rare was developing several games for Nintendo's new Game Boy Advance and GameCube systems, many of which starred Nintendo-owned characters. One such game was Donkey Kong Coconut Crackers. Donkey Kong Coconut Crackers was said to be a puzzle game with an isometric view. Donkey Kong would drop coconuts filled with paint, and the player must use this paint to make squares and rectangles. Kremlings occasionally show up and hinder the player's progress. A playable demo was made and demo videos were released. But in September of 2001, Microsoft bought Rare, and because Microsoft had just recently entered the video game industry with their Xbox, Rare cancelled and or reworked many of the games they were developing. Donkey Kong Coconut Crackers was sadly cancelled, and the idea was reworked into a Game Boy Advance game called It's Mr. Pants, featuring Rare's unofficial mascot, Mr. Pants, which was released on December 7th, 2004. To this day, a playable demo of Donkey Kong Coconut Crackers has not yet been dumped or leaked. Number 7. Doom Absolution. Doom Absolution was a planned sequel to Doom 64. The game was to be multiplayer focused, as the original game's multiplayer mode was cancelled during development. The developers wished to compete with GoldenEye 007's multiplayer mode, but the game was canned shortly after development started. It was supposedly cancelled due to how dated the Doom engine was. The team then decided to work on Quake 64 instead. No screenshots were released, nor were any gameplay trailers. The name Doom Absolution was later used by fans for the Doom 64 Total Conversion. This is all we know. It's kinda sad actually. Number 6. Banjo 3E. Banjo 3E is a cancelled video game that was developed by a British video game developer Rare, and was initially going to be published by Nintendo, and later Microsoft Studios. The game was going to be the third installment in the Banjo-Kazooie franchise. It was initially developed for the Nintendo GameCube, and later due to Microsoft purchase of Rare, Xbox and Xbox 360. It is rumored that parts of Banjo 3E are present in Banjo-Kazooie Grunty's Revenge for the Game Boy Advance. At Space World 2000, a video game event, a few tech demos for the Nintendo GameCube were shown. A tech demo titled Banjo 3E was also shown. It is speculated that after Gruntilda was defeated in Banjo 2E, her henchmen would try to get revenge against Banjo-Kazooie. In the tech demo, Banjo and Kazooie are pursued by a horde of enemies, which could mean that the tech demo shown could have shown the initial plot of Banjo 3E. Greg Mayles, creative designer at Rare, has stated on Twitter that a Banjo game for the Nintendo GameCube was never planned. Number 5. Doctor Who Worlds in Time. Doctor Who Worlds in Time was an online MMORPG from 2012 to 2014 based on the BBC's science fiction TV series. In the game, the player could create their own character, choosing from a variety of species from the show, and help the Doctor in missions. The missions were mostly single player, with a few exceptions, and contained fights against foes from series past. The fights were mainly comprised of various puzzle games. The players were defined by their class and by their sonic screwdriver, which was entirely customizable with components found while playing. When the user wasn't on a mission, they could hang out in the hub area, which represented one of the planets from the show, and talk to other players there. Pieces of clothing from the show were regularly added, and could be bought using coins, an in-game earned currency, or chronons, a currency bought with real-world cash. The game was browser-based on the website DoctorWhoWit.com, which has since been bought by a shady company for a Robux scam. The real website is accessible through the Wayback Machine, but the game in itself is lost. Number 4. Mortal Kombat HD Collection. Mortal Kombat HD Collection was a planned fighting game remake developed by Other Ocean Interactive, featuring 3 titles from Midway's Mortal Kombat franchise, namely Mortal Kombat 2, and Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 for the PlayStation 3. Though the conversion was scrapped and the developers would instead re-release the arcade versions, no playable build or gameplay footage of the remaster was ever publicly shown. The remake was to be a complete overhaul of the games, featuring brand new digitized sprites for all of the characters across all 3 games, new sound effects, and a UI and asset overhaul to visually upgrade the game to modern standards. While the full scope of the project was to never see the light of day, the 3 games would be released in their arcade form to Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and Windows PC as Mortal Kombat Arcade Collection. It is still unknown how far progress was made in the development of the original version of the project. But, given information from multiple sources who were directly and indirectly involved with it, many characters, stages, and other in-game assets across the trilogy of games were in progress completed before the HD conversion was scrapped. Number 3. SpongeBob SquarePants Happiness Squared. SpongeBob SquarePants Happiness Squared was a SpongeBob game developed sometime in the late 2000s by Heavy Iron Studios, before being developed into SpongeBob SquarePants Truth or Square. This early version of the game remained unknown until game developer Rob Roto uploaded a short teaser trailer that he had created for the game. Based off the demo, the game seems to be heavily based off the previous SpongeBob game developed by Heavy Iron Studios, known as SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom, as the tikis are present in both games. A noticeable difference in SpongeBob is that his spin attack has been replaced with him spinning with 2 spatulas, where in SpongeBob SquarePants Truth or Square, there are no spatulas during his spin attack. Unlike in Truth or Square, where the currency was happiness points, the happiness points have a square shape to them and are slightly redesigned, as well as other tokens with Patrick Star on them, which were not included in the final game. The last noticeable difference is the enemies. Unlike in Truth or Square, where the enemies are robots, Happiness Squared has the enemies as fish from Bikini Bottom, all of which use hammers as weapons. In the demo, the game was advertised to be released in fall of 2009 on Nintendo Wii, DS, PlayStation 2, and PlayStation Portable. According to a developer, near the end of development, it was renamed to SpongeBob SquarePants Truth or Square to promote the special of the same name. No playable early beta builds of the game have been leaked to the internet since then. Number 2. South Park. South Park is a cancelled open-world video game based on the television series of the same name. It was developed by Ubisoft and BuzzMonkey Software in 2005. The game would have been released for the PlayStation 2, Xbox, and Nintendo GameCube before being scrapped for unknown reasons. The game would have had gameplay similar to that of Grand Theft Auto and The Simpsons Hit and Run, where the player could roam freely around the town, drive vehicles, fight pedestrians, and complete missions. The 4 boys were all playable characters, and secondary characters from then all 8 seasons of the show would also be featured. The game would have also had a split-screen multiplayer component that featured racing and combat, among other things. On September 27, 2015, 2 members of the YouTube channel Happy Console Gamer discovered prototype gameplay on a debug Xbox console designed to run unfinished game code for testers and press demos on. The gameplay was early and broken, but much of its open world lies intact. Other less complete sections showcase systems not yet built into the main game. For example, there's Fighting System Test Room, which features an area where Cartman can punch wild dogs. A video of a cutscene that featured Cartman in a mental hospital has also resurfaced. Despite the recovery of the game's early Xbox build, it is unknown if there are more builds of the game that haven't been leaked to the public. Number 1. Star Wars Attack Squadrons. Star Wars Attack Squadrons was a cancelled free-to-play online game. The game was announced by Disney Interactive on December 17, 2013, and closed beta began on January 14, 2014. Developed by Area 52 Games, the game would have had players battle in an open arena while piloting ships from the Rebel Alliance or the Galactic Empire. The game has been inaccessible since the beta was closed on May 23, 2014. Footage from the open beta shows that players could have only chosen between the X-Wing, Y-Wing, and the TIE Interceptor. Also in closed beta footage, it shows that a player would have been awarded credits to power up their fighters. Up to 16 players would be able to fight in a single match. On May 23, 2014, the website for the game stated, "After much consideration, we have decided to cease development so that we can focus on other Star Wars game experiences. We truly appreciate the time you spent engaging in the beta." No further explanation was given to why this game was cancelled. As Star Wars Attack Squadrons was only in the beta stage by the time of its release, it is unlikely that the game's code had been made available. Given the short span of the beta trial, it is unlikely that Star Wars Attack Squadrons will be released. A video showing of the gameplay is the only piece of media of it left.